Jimbo the Denume Jans on the Monum Jimbo, Abjad, Bargadan Zandu Jimbo, Don Badge Janla Janza Lo Jimmy Jadson Zombo de Lawa, Benzola Basam Jundan, Why Bandim John Rumboje, Tenjan Wada Lama, give Jamsa. Today I'm going to talk about taking refuge to the three jewels. So it is very important to know how to take refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha. So first I would like to say why it is important and it is necessary as well. So the reason is we need protector. Free from the suffering. May you think we don't have a suffering at the moment, but we are bound by the sufferings, and within the we are in samsara or sacred existence. We facing the lots of problems and sufferings as well. So in order to protect from this suffering, we have to take refuge, because Buddha is only can help us protect from the samsaric beings. So first we have to fear the samsaric, because we again and again rebirth this samsara, and how many have been all lower realms, and in order to benefit other sentient beings, we have to take refuge. So if you believe the cause and result or karma as well, there is a life after life. It's not only the Buddha Shakyamuni taught. Today, many scientists discover these things. Recently, I read a book, Life After Life, written by the Dr. Raymond Moody. He asked many people who remember in their previous life. Some people remember their previous life, and most people that died and back in their bodies, telling the story what they had experienced. All these things, obviously something happened in our next life. So free from the fear of samsara, or liberate our mind, we have to take refuge to the Buddha and Dharma Sangha as well. So in order to take refuge, there are two things: fear of samsara and reborn as the lower realms, and we hope bind, reborn these lower realms, and we know that Buddha is only one who saves us from samsara. So another thing, we need foundation of taking refuge. What are foundation or foundation? Faith. Sometimes people think that faith is like something religious matter, or religious faith, or faith is like no reason, or something like blind. But here we talk about faith. It's not blind faith. It is a reason, basic on the reason and logic. There's three categories of faith. First faith is admire, or sometimes we say vivid faith. And the second is eagerness. The last one is confident with the wisdom, or trust faith as well. So first faith is basic on the second. It's cause you something you hearing about quality of Buddha or Buddha's teaching, or you seen that something holy statues, all this kind of make your faith. That's we call it admire faith. Still establish real faith, we have to have second. Because when you hear this kind of things, you seen these kind of things, you learn of Buddha's quality or Buddha's teachings, then you eager to practice it, and you desire it, put them practice, and you hope that you try. So after you try it, you practice, then you get confident with your mind. Then you trust, and you believe the Buddha Shakyamuni's words or teachings. Buddha on his words in the sutra, bhikshus and scholars, my teaching is you should throw examine or investigate rather than put them in blind faith. So Buddha Shakyamuni alone, who is founder of sometimes religious, but I don't like the words of religious with the Buddhist, because sometimes Buddhist is not like kind of it's we can say that traditionally it's something religious, but it is not exactly words of religious. Dharma is not religious. It's a completely different meanings. So what I say, the Buddha is only one of who allowed to investigate his teaching, and he given the permit to examine his teachings rather than put in like a faith or baseless faith or blind faith. So so the third faith, the confident and trust with the wisdom, we understand what it is, and through reasoning and logic. So this kind of faith we need in order to take refuge to the Buddha. And as I mentioned before, what are three jewels? The Buddha is the founder of the Buddhist or he is the one of who we don't believe that, we don't say he is just the creator of a creator or create something. There is nothing what to say happened before, but he just discovered what we have. Sometimes we can hear, or he always saying in his teaching, but the nature is inherently exist all the sentient beings. That means just Buddha is only to teach us how to become a Buddha, how can achieve a Buddhahood within our life. And he taught many different teachings according different individuals' capacity. So the Buddha is like actually the Buddha was an ordinary person who achieved enlightenment. So he taught us on his experience, and he explained nature of phenomena. So there's many different philosophy. So then second is Dharma. Dharma, as I mentioned before, he taught is we call teaching. He taught first he taught Four Noble Truths in Varanasi, and then second he turned the wheel of second, third, and different places to the different disciples. So in order to practice his teaching, we have to take refuge to the Dharma. The third one is Sangha. Sangha is like bhikshus or who practice of Buddha's teaching. And sometimes there is a little bit different understanding on three jewels according the yanas. But here, commonly, I would explain that the Buddha, the first is a Buddha, and then Dharma and Sangha. Sangha is like who practice of Buddha's Dharma, and we have to take refuge to the Sangha, because Buddha is not today here. Buddha had been 2005 years ago. He had been in this world, but even he taught our teachings. We can read them, but we don't know meanings. In order to know the meaning of his teachings, we rely to the Sangha, all these great teachers. Without this, we don't know. Even we have teachings today. We have lots of Dharma book we have. So in order to understand of Buddha's teaching, we have to take refuge to the Sangha, or Sangha as our company of to practice of Buddha's Dharma. Then Buddha, how to take a refuge? Buddha is a teacher, and Dharma as a teaching, and the Sangha as a company of practice, components. So those who going to take refuge to the three jewels, there is a three levels. Three levels. Three levels. We can say maybe it's three levels of people, or who different motivations. Three motivations. The first one, take refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The motivation, free from the suffering themselves, to free from suffering. And in order to solve the problem, themselves, then take refuge to the three jewels. And the second motivation is, it's not only him or herself, but also within himself or herself, others as well. The third motivation, the third one is best, because this motivation is a high level. We don't care in ourselves. In order to benefit other sentient beings, we take refuge to the Buddha and Dharma Sangha, like a Manjushri's mind. So, in order to courage ourselves, in order to benefit others as well, so we have to take the third one, or sometimes with the numbers are sometimes it's a different put, or third one is first, could be first one, third. It's actually the third one is motivation of Manjushri. So in order to take away of Bodhisattva, we have to follow the third way, and we think about our mother sentient beings, and we dedicate for them. Whatever you do in virtuous things, no matter it is small or major, or you have to have pure motivations, or you have to have three supreme methods with your practice virtues. The beginning of your doing the virtuous things, you think about generate your mind. You generate a mind, Bodhisattva mind, or altruistic mind. Prayer for going to benefit others. And then when you are caring your actions, the second time the caring your action, just meditate on non-conceptions. Just you can meditate on emptiness as well. Then finally you dedicate your virtues for other sentient beings. Do not dedicate within yourself. If you dedicate yourself, the virtues will be unpowerful, or it's what do we say? It is difficult to multiply or to benefit others as well. In order to ensure in your virtues continually in the future, you have to dedicate for other sentient beings. Without these three categories of motivations, then your virtues is used up itself by the negative emotions. Might you think today I did something good things, or you attach your virtues, and you're proud of your virtues, then these kind of things and get in your anger as well. This make your virtues virtues used up. Or so in order to multiply, or in order to ensure and continually grow up, you have to have dedicate for other sentient beings. That's not means your virtues given others. Your virtues more powerful than dedicate yourself. So these are we called Bodhisattva actions or Bodhisattva activities. So the main today topic is three jewels. How to take refuge, as I mentioned before, three jewels, and why we need taking a refuge to the three jewels. In order to become a Buddhist, you have to have taken a refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. On the other hand, even you practice Buddha's teaching, you are not a Buddhist until you are taking refuge to the three jewels. So there is a little bit different views. Sometimes there's, if you believe the four pillars, then we call it a Buddhist. George Pardon Atasha, what he mentioned, what is differentiate between the non-Buddhist or Buddhist, it's taking refuge to the Buddha. Without taking refuge, then we don't call it as a Buddhist. So it's very important. And then we take refuge to the Buddha, what we have benefit. And even you recite the three jewels prayer, this plant seed of liberation, liberate your mind from the disturbing emotion or from samsara as well. So, going to take refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha, then you have to respect Buddha as your teacher and Buddha as your guide, who lead you from samsara to nirvana. Or he is the only person who showing you path to liberation. And then going to take refuge in Dharma, you have to practice what he told. And every day put them in your practice, in your daily life. There's many different meditations. Just you try to meditate them and practice. This we have to do. And then when you take refuge to the Sangha, respect the Sanghas. That means you are Dharma friends who receiving the teachings with you, or who practice with you, who told you Dharma's teachings. You must respect them, and you do all these things. Then, as you call the Buddhist practitioner. And when you take refuge to the Buddha, you cannot take refuge to the others who worldly beings, the samsaric beings. They cannot help you to free from the samsara. You cannot take refuge to them because themselves is bound by the samsaric. So after you take refuge to Dharma, you do not harm others, and you help others as much as you can. Even you physically cannot help them, just a prayer for them and respect them. Just prayer. Even you cannot have this life, next life you will be something powerful, help others as well if you wish, and prayer for other sentient beings, or taking bodhisattva vows in your daily life as well. So after you take refuge to Sangha, you do not against your Dharma friends. These are your real friends who going to enlightened, or who going with you the nirvana stage. So these are real our friend who teach us, who help us. It's not like difficulties as worldly, but it's difficulties as ultimate surfing or from the samsara. That's why these are very important. So I think roughly you understand. If I go into in a detail, then some are you are very new, and it's very difficult and may you confuse. So step by step, slowly. The first thing is we have to know what are the three jewels and then we have to know how to take refuge to them, and we have to know how much important and what happened if I want to take refuge to the Buddha and Dharma Sangha. It's not mean still you do not practice, you cannot practice Buddhism, but you can practice Buddhism, but you are not a Buddhist. That is the many scholars said. One of Joe Adesha, we have called him a refugee Pandita. When he visit in Tibet, he always taught on 3 jewels, because he know that is very important. He know how much it is important for the Buddhist. Even we call as a Buddhist, but still we don't know what are 3 jewels, how to practice, how to take refuge, and even some are we didn't receive any 3 jewels, the vows as well. That is really not good. So we must know this. It seems small, but it is it's a very big thing. It's a very fundamental of Buddha's teaching and Buddhist, and this is a foundation. So after you receiving the 3 jewels vow, then you never reborn in the lower realms.